back to Royalty Soaps. Today I'm going to be making one of my signature high top soaps, and it's going to be scented with a red velvet fragrance. This was requested on one of my previous videos, and I thought this would be a really fun project to do, so we're gonna do red velvet. Before we begin, if you haven't entered my giveaway, you totally should, because you can win a year's worth of ARTISAN soap from yours truly. It's super easy to enter. I'll leave a link right here in the upper right hand corner. There's about 12 different ways that you can enter, and one of them is not related to social media. So if you don't have any social media accounts, you can still enter the giveaway. I'm drawing the winner on February 1st, just in time for the February soap release. So that person will get to pick 2 soaps out from anything that I have made this year, essentially. I'm gonna start by pouring my Lye Water Solution into the bucket of oils that I have here. My Lye Water Solution is in this stainless steel pitcher. I got this from Amazon. Really helpful to have stainless steel because it makes cleaning so much easier. And if you're working with smaller batches like what I'm doing today, I'm only making 2 loaves, then these are really handy. So I'll leave a link to this down below. My phone is talking in my pocket. I was on Mandy Moore's Instagram because she is renovating her house and it's really pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to blend this up with my stick blender or immersion blender, whatever you want to call it. We're not blending very long. That will do properly. Now that I've blended up the soap, it's time to split off the batches. So I'm going to have 3 layers. I'm going to have the bottom layer and the top layer be like a deep red color. And then the middle part is going to be white, sort of like the cream cheese frosting in the middle. And we're going to have a little bit of marbling in that layer as well with more red. I'm going to reuse the stainless steel pitcher because I like to reuse my dishes because it saves me time washing them, which is easily my least favorite part of soap making. Got my spatula here, gonna scrapey out this container. And then I'm gonna pour off some into this cup. That's gonna be the red accent color. So to color the 2 cake layers, I'm gonna use Red Vibrance Mica and Really Red Mica. Both of these are from Nurture Soap. To color the red accent, I'm going to be using some more of that Really Red Mica. And the middle layer, this one right here, is going to be white. So I'm gonna set the middle layer and the top layer off to the side, and we're gonna work with just this first layer. The fragrance oil I am using is from Nature's Garden. It's the red velvet cake. It smells amazing. Before I add that into this layer, I'm gonna go ahead and blend up the color. Now I'll add the fragrance oil, and then we will pour this into the mold. I have mixed in the fragrance oil completely. This fragrance oil does speed up trace just a little bit, so I wouldn't recommend doing any like super intricate swirls with it. But for layering, it's really perfect because once you pour it in, then you can pour the next layer pretty fast because the bottom one has already set up almost completely. Whee! Gonna take my spatula again and scrapey this container. Okay, I'm gonna shimmy this a little bit to the sides just to make that top really level. And now I'm going to mix up the middle marbled part. Time for the next layer. So I have mixed up my white and poured in the red accent into it. And they are actually kind of at 2 different stages. The white is probably at a medium trace and the red is at a thin trace. So the marbling is gonna look really pretty. Wow. Ooh. I feel like I should make a soap that looks just like that. Maybe not with red, but with a different color. Put a little more over here. And my goal here is just to make sure that it reaches the edge. If it's still a little soft on the bottom so that it's not completely flat, that's okay. Because honestly, frosting in these cakes never really looks even. Gonna kind of shimmy that down a little bit. This side keeps coming unstuck. Gonna pour the little bit that I have left out onto this layer. And then I will mix up the final red layer. Now I'm just gonna pour in this next layer here. I'm holding my spatula over so I don't completely mess up these layers. But again, if they're a little messed up, that's okay, because often cakes kind of are. Like, the icing is always a little squished in a few areas. If you're not a professional, your cake is gonna be a little bit less than perfect, and that's okay, because we're going for authenticity over here. So I'm just going to continue to layer it in like this until the entire mold is filled up. Okay, so Caleb was telling me, I was like, what exactly are the origins for red velvet and what does it taste like? Like, it's really a distinct flavor, and if you've never had it before, it's kind of hard to describe. But he was telling me that the vinegar and the cocoa and the buttermilk that are in the cake are kind of what gives it the, I guess, red velvety flavor that we all know. This fragrance oil does a pretty darn good job, I think, of kind of capturing that scent, but it really is truly unique. And I've never made one, but I've eaten them, and I've seen how much food coloring you have to put in to red velvet. Maybe that's kind of what has made me like not ever want to make it, because I'm like, that can't be good for you to consume that much red dye. Caleb, in a red velvet cake, how much red food coloring does it call for?
3 cups.
What? No, oh my gosh. You totally freaked me out.
4 tablespoons.
That's still an astronomical amount. 3 cups. Oh my gosh. Just gonna scrapey my container one last time. Then we will move on to the piping. My piping has set up completely, so I am using the Atico 172 tip. You can get this on Amazon. I'll leave it in the bio below. So I'm going to add 4 little piping bits right here, right across. And then I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna add another one, just like this. And my piping's a little bit runny because I found with this tip, if your piping starts to set up too fast, it's really hard to pipe and you lose the definition of the ridges. So it's better to pipe a little thinner than it is to wait until it thickens up a whole bunch. So I'm just gonna do this all the way down the soap. I have all of my soaps planned out about 2 months, I wanna say, in advance. And I'm really excited about the ones that I'm going to make in February. They're going to be so much fun. So now that I have the 4 across, I'm going to add 3 across, and then we'll put 1 dollop in the middle as the final touch. Another thing I get asked a lot is, how do I know how much of to put on each soap when it comes to piping? Because if you squeeze a little more, obviously your dollops will be a little bit bigger, and then you might not have enough soap to get to every single bar. And this is just something that takes a little bit of practice. If you look at my soaps, they kind of have the same amount for each little piping bit that I do. They're kind of all the same size, and that really helps me determine how much I'm going to be able to add. So I happen to know that with this tip, I can do 4 across, and then 3 across, and then 1 on the top, and that's pretty much all I have piping for. So it's just a trial and error type thing. I think this might be the first time I've done a completely red piping on top. I don't think I've ever done that before. It's really fun. Colored piping I don't do often, but when I do, I always have such a good time. And I mainly do white piping just because it accents whatever is on the inside of the soap really well. And sometimes colored piping is just too much, but the soap that I'm going to be making next is actually another colored piping top. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I will say it is heavily requested, and it is inspired by something else. So it's not just like a soap like this where it's just like, oh, red velvet. It's like inspired by an actual item. Another thing I get asked a lot when making soap is how to get started. Lots of people watch my videos and then they want to make soap too. So I'll leave you some links to some places to get you started on this. For some personal favorite websites that I have, the Soap Queen website, Modern Soap Making, Love and Soap, soap. Those ladies, they do an excellent job putting together tutorials and information about it. A lot better spoken than I am, but also in a written format, and most of them in a video format as well. So you can pick your medium for getting your information there. So I'll leave that down below. Now for the final little dollop on top, I'm just going to put it straight up and down because I am going to be adding an embed on top. I've only eaten red velvet cake like once or twice in my life. So I had to look up some pictures of how people normally decorate the tops, and it seems like white chocolate is something they like to put on it. And also it seems like lots of people like to add maybe a little garnish of chocolate powder, like just kind of on top. So I think I'm gonna do that as well. And then I'm also going to add some little sprinkles made out of salt. So it's gonna be very interesting top here, and we're gonna add a little bit of what will look like a white chocolate drizzle as well. And after I do the soap, if I have a little bit left in my piping bag like this, I just go back and I kind of fill in any place that looks like it needs a little extra soap on it. Let's add the salts on first. I have in this one some mixed with Red Vibrance, and in this one I have some mixed with Pearl White, and both of those are from Nurture. So I'm just gonna sprinkle these on the top. Because my piping is still pretty wet, they're going to stick very well. This is just supposed to kind of look like, you know, little white chocolate pieces. And now we'll add the red ones on, and this is supposed to look like little red velvet cake pieces, which I find that people use to like decorate the top of the cake. Like they take little sprinkles of the cake almost and put it on top of what is the cream cheese frosting, and it looks really cool. Now I'm gonna add my little soap gumballs on. If you want a tutorial for how to make the soap gumballs, I will list that right now in the upper right hand corner. I have a video of me making these with my mom. Just gonna put one on every single soap bar here, all the way down. This looks so delectable. I totally want to eat it. I still struggle with putting these in just the right spot because the soap ball is almost too big for my little 1-inch bars here. I'm now putting a little tiny bit of brown mica right across the top here. This is supposed to look kind of like the cocoa powder. It's mocha brown from Nurture soap. So I'm just gonna go just a teeny tiny bit just for a pretty effect here, and then I'm gonna put some on the side as well, all the way down the soap. If you're doing this, make sure that your AC is not running if you have a vent anywhere near you, because it will just puff, puff, puff the mica everywhere, and it will not look that good. For the final touch, I'm going to be adding some white melt and pour soap that I've mixed with the Pearl White mica, and I'm waiting till this thickens up a little bit. I don't want it to be super, super runny because that doesn't look like melted white chocolate. And then I'm just going to put a little bit on top, just like this. Not a whole bunch, just a little bit in between the cracks here. I'm not adding any more on than that. And this is what our finished red velvet cake soap looks like. I am dying over that red. It is so fabulous, and the sprinkles look so good too. So I'm gonna let this sit for 24 to 48 hours before I cut them. We are back the next day to cut this soap, and thank goodness my wires came in for Evangeline, and Caleb was kind enough to install them for me today, so I actually get to use a fully functional 18-bar cutter. I'm gonna line this up. I'm gonna press down gently, and then let's pull one right here out of the middle. Ta-da! This is what it looks like on the inside. Now this red looks kind of orangey, but as it sits over time and that vanillin starts to make its little chemical reaction in there, then it's going to look a bit more brown. So it's going to be that deep, deep brown red that red velvet cake actually kind of has in real life. And it smells really amazing. Like super, super good. That cream cheese smell with kind of like sugar and butter and vanilla, and like, oh man, it just smells so good. It matches my wedding ring. Oh my. Oh, we have some mica on the, oh, don't mind that. Aw, and the top looks so delicious. Oh, I love it. Ooh, and look at that marbling on the inside there. It's so pretty. Now, Klebka, do you have a question of the day?
Sure.
Would you rather suddenly be elected a U.S. Senator, or would you rather become the CEO of a major company?
Aw.
And you don't have any more knowledge of either of those things than you do right now.
So literally it could be any company, or you could be senator of any state.
That's right. Well, any major company, like Fortune 500.
I think I'd rather take a company because I think government is so boring. If you would like to vote in the question of the day, you can click the I in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Let's see who wins. Would you rather become a senator or a CEO? Let us know. Thanks everyone so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, maybe even leave us a comment down below, and we will see you all on Wednesday with another video. And until then, you have an absolutely royal day, and bye for now.